program on the junior high level. In the 40 years of teaching that I've done in the public schools, this is one of the best experiences that I've had to really help your students learn at a deeper level, as well as to demonstrate their knowledge in a way that they probably haven't been asked to do before. This is a program that was implemented at the bicentennial back in 1976 and has been a strengthening program throughout the nation ever since. This is a program that's done on the junior high and high school level as well as elementary, but I'm going to share with you more the junior high aspect of it because that's been my experience. This is a program that helps students really understand our government and what it does. I've been really impressed with the materials that the Center for Civic Education has provided, which makes teaching the content much better. But also you can use a lot of other sources as well. You don't have to feel tied into doing it in one particular way. It has a lot of flexibility and it works really well. One of the things that I feel that it does, in addition to helping the students understand the Constitution better, it develops some great skills. Not only are they learning to read for depth and content, but they're also going to be develop writing skills. They're going to be developing abilities to collaborate together and to work together in units in a group setting. And then they're also going to be developing oral presentation skills when we get to talking about the competition or the oral presentation at the end. So the first thing that you will do in implementing We the People is just part of your regular curriculum. I've done it with various types of classes. My regular U.S. history classes, my honors U.S. history classes, and I've even had an elective government civics class that participated in it as well. English classes are also a good connection with it, but mostly it ties in well with social studies, especially when you're talking about that period in U.S. history where we're talking about our government and how we got it and how it was created. And so I'm going to take you through some ideas. These are only ideas, and other things can be done as well. But this is what's worked best for me as I've implemented it over the years. The first thing you do is collectively as a class study the Constitution. You really get into detail on all the aspects of what has made our government what it is. And the various units that are set up help to take you through that process pretty well. What it does is first of all go into the general founding of government principles and terminology as far as where did we get our ideas for government and why do we need government. That's the first unit. Second unit gets into our early beginnings as a country in our colonial period and our protests and frustration that leads to the American Revolution and eventually the Declaration of Independence. It gets into the areas of how government is organized, into the three branches of government and how it relates to the state governments, local governments, and how those all connect together in our system today and what powers are given within those government. Then it gets into the amendments and some of the changes that we've made, how we've adjusted and kept our government up to date with our times and made needed changes. And then it also gets into the role of citizens and how citizens can be more involved in their government and the things which they do. And so you'll have thorough discussions and various activities that can be done, but it's up to you as far as how you want to teach it. But the key is then what do you do with that knowledge and that understanding? And so I really like the idea of that simulated congressional hearing as an alternative form of assessment. You can also do a regular multiple choice type of test to show their knowledge, and that is also acceptable as far as getting the basics down and making sure that they understand the key ideas of our system. But I really like the congressional hearing because it really brings out a lot that your students can demonstrate in a little different way. So the congressional hearing can be done at the very least just within your own classroom, with you or your principal coming in, or fellow teachers that might have a student teacher and are available to come in during a particular class period to be that panel of judges for your students. But there's a variety of ways you can do it, but the best that I've seen has been taking it to the state competition, because that's where the students really get excited and really bring back some great feelings of an experience of what they have done by going through the state competition. But what I do in preparation for that is to have the students decide which of the 6 units they would like to be a part of. Because once you've got that general knowledge of everything that you've studied on the government, there might be a certain area that some students take more of a liking to than others. And so I like to have my students basically choose, put in order, what would be their first choice, which unit they would like to most participate in, their second choice, third choice, fourth, fifth, and sixth choice. And I tell them that if possible, I'll try to give them their first choice, but I may need to go to their second or third because of particular numbers and how many you need to have. In your regular class of 30 students or more, you're going to have possibly 5 to 6 students per unit. And so it gives them a chance to be able to choose which unit they most relate to. And then also they have something in common with the other students in their unit because they've selected that or had that near the top of their list. It also gives you a chance as a teacher to look at the particular student makeup and give you a chance to make a little bit of an adjustment to make them a little bit more balanced the way you would like to see it. But it also gives student ownership in picking their unit. Now on the junior high level, you are given one question for the competition. There are 3 possible questions that are given to you from year to year. It's rotated, and so you only have to prepare one particular question and its answer. What you would do with the groups, and this is what's worked out well for me, is that you have the students each individually within their unit go home at night and look through their material, look through their notes, and to answer that particular question that their unit will be assigned. And then come back the next day and compare what their answers were. That way, each student within that unit has thoroughly thought out what their 4-minute response will be. That's how the competition works, is a 4-minute response, followed by 6 minutes of follow-up questions by the judges. So it's really important to get off to a good start to have a real good, solid 4-minute response to the question. So if all students have answered that question in their mind, have written it out, thought about it thoroughly, and then get together with their group, then they can kind of compare what they think are the most important things to include in what they want to say to the judges. That way, they can demonstrate their knowledge collectively as far as their understanding of that particular unit and that particular question. Once the students have put together their 4-minute response collectively as a unit, then they present it to me so that I can give them feedback and suggestions and possibly do some rewriting of what their final 4-minute group answer is going to be. And then I will grade them as a group based on that 4-minute. The next thing they need to do is then to kind of practice how they're going to present that in the competition. And so I give them plenty of time to thoroughly feel confident in dividing up who is going to say what in the 4-minute presentation. I have them practice it thoroughly and go over it many times. And then I have them do it in front of their own classmates so that their own classmates can then give them feedback as far as what they feel would be the strength or any weaknesses of that 4-minute answer. Once all the units have done that, and they're feeling fairly confident with the 4-minute response, then there's the 6-minute follow-up that will take place. And this is where the students have really no idea exactly what the judges are going to ask them. This is kind of the make or break part of the competition, how well students can just respond off the top of their head with all the support that is needed to give a good, thorough answer. And that's one thing to consider when they're looking at both the 4-minute prepared preparation and the 6-minute follow-up. They need to look at how well are they documenting their statements. Are they taking examples from history? Are they using Supreme Court cases? Are they using examples in current events that show the government in action today? All of that strengthens both the 4-minute and the 6-minute follow-up. And so once the 4-minute is pretty well secured, then I ask the students to anticipate what could you be asked in the 6-minute follow-up by the judges. Now on the state level, the judges come from various backgrounds, but they're all pretty knowledgeable on our government because of some of their personal experience. Some have served in the legislature or in legislative staffs, some are attorneys, some are judges, and some are teachers, and some are business people. So there's a variety of backgrounds of people that will possibly be judges in the competition. And so the students will really need to know and show what their understanding is. So they can anticipate anything that goes along with their unit that they think the judges might ask them. And I would suggest that they take 4 or 5 questions that they kind of have in mind that they could very well be asked and prepare responses to what they could say or what they could do. And whether they get asked those particular questions or not, it's just good preparation for how they might be able to respond to those kinds of ideas. And so in my experience in the past, that's where the students really take ownership. They become very self-motivated. They want to do very well, and they want to demonstrate their knowledge and understanding of the Constitution and our role as citizens. It's been a great experience that I've had. I've had students come back many years later and ask me, are you still doing We the People program? And they'll tell me that's one of the best things that they remember from their junior high years. It's something that will last with them. And so I hope that you'll take advantage of that and give them some good recognition for the efforts that they've done. There are some good things already in place to give them recognition as well. Each student will get a certificate for participating in the We the People program. But you as a teacher can do a variety of other things as well. If they go on to the state competition, or if they have a demonstration that they've done in their classroom, put that in the school newsletter or the local newspaper and include some of the good things that they've done. If they go on to the state level, they have the opportunity of earning a pin that might demonstrate one of the top units that they might have been selected as in the competition. Or if they place in the first, second, or third category, they will receive medals and the teacher a plaque for their classroom.